Hey everyone, how's it going? Colin from Gaming Through the Ages here. I figured that, for December 25th, it's Christmas time, uh, time for a update video. Now, this is unscripted, I have some bullet points, but this is just meant to, talk about why I made the channel, where we've come from, where we've been since August, I should say, and the plans that I have for the new year. Um, so first of all, what I really want to do is thank every one of you that's watching this video, that's watched all of my other videos, and especially those that consistently comment on different videos. YouTube can be a thankless job, especially since it's not a job, right? I mean, I'm not getting paid for any of this. This is a hobby that I would like to see it grow. And often what will happen, I play through a game, tend to be pretty beefy, write up a review, work on the video, and I'm not particularly much of a fan of video editing myself anyway, but you put all the work into that, you think of a good thumbnail, and you put it out there, and I'm happy if a video gets above 20 views, to be honest. Like, that's most of my traffic is still coming from people clicking on it on Reddit and stuff like that. I don't have much of a following. You put all of that work in there, and then you don't get a whole lot of reward, and that can be demoralizing. But what picks me up every time are those of you who comment, on a video here, on a video there, telling me that you enjoyed my video, or that you thought that my insight was interesting, or that even if you disagreed. It's stuff like that that makes me double down and decide that, yes, this is something that I want to do and I want to keep doing consistently, even when sometimes I don't want to. The whole point of this channel is to express my love of video games, just period. But to express that love of video games in a way that treats video games seriously. A lot of channels are going to do the whole treat video games as an art form, yada, yada, yada. And to me, that's not even something that I have to discuss. That's just something that you do. But you do that by taking a game at its own merits, analyzing it to see what works and what doesn't work, to judge how much a player will enjoy it. And that's what I feel like I've been trying to do. I'm sure that I can improve on that in many ways. But I say all of that just to point out that this channel, the entire point of it is to just have fun and talk about video games. And it's easy for me to just give out my opinion, but it's a lot more interesting when I get to hear your opinions as well. That's the real conversation. That's a real back and forth. That makes this far more worth it than me just spilling my thoughts out into the void. So I greatly appreciate everybody who comments. So I started, I say a reboot of this channel because, a few years ago, you might see it if you look at my channel page, there's a couple of videos that, are very old. Super Mario RPG review, Mega Man 1 review, The Witcher, and then some others. There's a video on there about Tales of Vesperia, something about Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, these were all done years ago. I wanted to be a YouTuber back then, but it was always start and stop. I got discouraged easily. I don't think I really had a process down. To be honest, then I was dealing with, some emotional fallout from a breakup and trying to use YouTube as a way to get over that, and that was not going to work. That was not going to work at all. But now I'm doing it just because I want to do YouTube. So I mark the beginning of this channel to the Xenogears review that I did in August. And that was the launch of consistent weekly content for Gaming Through the Ages, including even a name change to Gaming Through the Ages. Before it was Jim Lico Reviews or something like the Classical Gaming, I think is what it was. Since then, if you look at the games that I've done, I start with Xenogears, right? And then I do some indie stuff, Golf Story, Blue Fire, fantastic games, by the way. And sometimes I can weave in some other JRPGs in there too, like Dragon Quest, like Tales of Arise. That's one of... I'm glad to have written that review when I did. I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's definitely not, but one of my favorite videos that I've done, I have to say. But what you see looking at the game is that most of the games on this list of games that I've reviewed are short games. And sometimes that's really good. I mean, The Forgotten City, one of my favorite games of this year, and I picked it, A, because it looked interesting, but B, because it was short. Same with Gulf Story, same with Blue Fire. Same with the Yuffie DLC. But I picked them because they're short. So that way I can then, quickly make weekly review content. And to some extent that's good, but to some extent it's pretty bad because there are games that I want to dig deep into that are longer that, if I'm always picking short games in order to meet that weekly quota, that I'm not going to be able to play the bigger games that I'd want to do. So this upcoming year, I want to make a concerted effort to play games because I want to play them and not because they are short. If they are short and I want to play them, then that's perfect. There's nothing wrong with a good short game. There are some short games that have come out recently, like Guardians of the Galaxy, that I do want to play and will review for the channel at some point for sure. But I don't want to let game length be a overall factor in me choosing a game. What that means, though, is that if I'm going to continue doing weekly content, which I do want to do, I think consistency is important, then what I have to do is weave in discussion videos, which I've kind of done this year already. There's 3 discussion videos, and that's kind of what I've done. We'll see how many I have to do, because I'm also trying to, be more efficient with my gaming time and all of that, and kind of work ahead, although I'm still in the process of doing that. But that's my overall goal for how I approach games in the upcoming year, which is to pick games that I want to play. What that'll mean is that the channel will probably be more RPG focused than it is now, because JRPGs are my favorite kind of game to play. Doesn't mean that we won't play other kinds of games. I want to play platformers. I love Mario games. I love Hat in Time is a game I want to review for the channel at some point. I love platformers. I love action games. Maybe even play an open world game here and there. I mean, I have a broad spectrum of games that I want to play, but my focus, I think, should be on RPGs, because RPGs is the genre that I identify with the most. So this upcoming month in January is going to reflect that. We have Ys, Oath, and Felghana coming up, but then also I have videos planned for Bug Fables, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, and Tales of Phantasia. At the time of this recording, Tales of Phantasia is not yet beaten, but it will be beaten very soon. I'm getting to the end of that game. Digimon will be an interesting game for me to review, because for the first time I'm reviewing a game that I did not beat. Digimon is a game that I think had a lot of promise, and very frustratingly so, kept looking like it was going to reach those promises, but never actually did, and just gotten more and more frustrating near the end, until I finally just said, to hell with it, I'm done. And I'm not going to throw those 50 hours away and not talk about the game. I think there might be something for us to learn by looking at why the game ultimately fails. Part of the problem of, only reviewing games that you beat is that you can't. Part of a game's failure state is if the player decides to give up, right? If the game sucks enough that the player does not want to play it anymore, especially after a significant time investment, there's something worthy of our attention there to try to understand how that works and why that works. So that's what I want to do with that video. I'm thinking of calling it a new series, Why Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Frustrated Me So Much, or something like that. But that's for January. Looking to the year ahead, I have 2 major projects that I want to do throughout the year, and then some games that I want to do one-offs of. So, first of all, I think, of course, I have to finish the Ys series. As I said, next week, Ys, Oath, and Felghana review will go live. I'm writing that right now. It's been a while since I've beaten it, so I'm not sure how well this review is going to go. I think I shot myself in the foot there, but I'm going to try the best that I can for you guys. It's a great game, by the way. It's spoiler alert. Fantastic game. Um, so yeah, we have that, but there's about 5 other games in the series. There's Ys 5, Ys 6, Ys 7, Ys 8, and Ys 9. Okay, we all can count. Ys 5 is a weird one because it is the only one that's not available in English officially. And I personally don't like emulation all that much. So I bought a flash card for my Super Nintendo. It's already running. I have everything I need to do for that. I'm going to be playing Ys 5 in English on my CRT on a Super Nintendo. So I'm looking forward to getting into that game. I've also heard that it's quite short, speaking of picking games because they're short, and quite easy. And I'll be interested to see how that works. But I am very much more looking forward to getting to the end of that series. Monstrum Nox looks like a ton of fun. But we got to work our way through that. So definitely in the year 2022, we're finishing up the Ys series. But not that this is a Falcom-centered channel, because it's not. I really want to cover the Legend of Heroes series. I have made remarks here and there how much I love the Trails series. Trails in the Sky, Trails in the Sky SC, the Crossbell duology, Trails of Cold Steel. I mean, I love that series. I think it's my favorite series. I played them all during when COVID first hit, and ever since then, I think about them every day. I'm listening to the soundtrack all of the time. I love Trails. It's amazing. I really do think it's my favorite series. It's an excellent series. And the US, we're lucky enough that we're finally getting official localizations of the Crossbell duology. I've played the Crossbell duology already using the fantastic fan translations that we had. I didn't get to use Geofront for Trails to Azure, but still a very good translation. And so they're finally getting released, and I kind of want to celebrate that. And in order to celebrate that, I want to play the Legend of Heroes games up to 0 in preparation, and then 0 comes out, and then I play 0 at the end of the year. But I don't want it to be just Trails. I'm very interested in the prehistory of the Legend of Heroes games. We have, there's the Legend of Heroes, which is Dragon Slayer 6 on the TurboGrafx 16 CD. And then we also have 3 PSP games that are like remakes of games that I believe were in Japanese. I know they're in Japanese. I think they were originally released on computers and the Saturn. It may be like some other console, I'm not sure, but we have PSP versions, and there does not appear to be fan translations of the original, so we'll be playing the PSP versions. With my PC Engine, I had, in my Ys 1 video, I noted that I couldn't play the original Ys Books 1 and 2, even though I own it, because something was going wrong with my hardware. It was not running right, unfortunately. For Christmas, I am almost certainly getting one of those PC Engine Super System 3 HD things that serve for RGB output and HDMI output, but also serve as a PC Engine CD flash card, which means that I can then play ISOs and there's no moving parts, so everything should work perfectly fine then. I'm very much looking forward to that. Similarly with the PSP games, I own one of them physically, and I own a PSP and I have the component cables. I could just play it that way, but instead what I decided to do was to buy a PSTV, one of those consoleized Vitas, so I could hack it and get the games on there. Because that way, I can play it on the TV with a PS3 controller. I want to give the game its best possibility to perform for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying myself and that I'm comfortable when I'm playing it. So I put the investment in for those two things so that we can do the Legend of Heroes for this year. Then there's some games that are coming out, 2 in particular, that I'm very much looking forward to. Triangle Strategy is coming out in March, and it looks really interesting. I have not beaten a turn-based RPG that is not made by Intelligent Systems. I've gotten close with Final Fantasy Tactics before, but I have not beaten that game either. So Triangle Strategy, it's going to be challenging for me, I'm sure, but I really want to play it, and we're going to beat it. And then Pokemon Legends Arceus coming out in February. You guys know how disappointed I was with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I'm really hoping that, that those games were not made by Game Freak. This one is, and I want to see what they do with it. It looks really interesting. Maybe it'll flop. I don't know, but we're going to find out together. Look, I'm a small YouTuber. I don't get stuff in advance, but, day one will come out. I'll buy it. I'll play it as fast as I can. Probably not as fast as Brilliant Diamond and Pearl. That's, I took an entire weekend off that I should not have taken off in order to just play that game. So I'll beat this as fast as I can. Hopefully we have a quick turnaround. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do a review of that. And that is what I have planned so far. Are there any topics that you want to see me talk about for when I need discussion videos? I have a couple at the top of my head that I want to do, but, is there anything that you want me to talk about? Let me know down in the comments below. Are there any games that you want me to look at? I can't promise to play every single recommendation, but if the game looks good, then I will make an effort to work it into the schedule for sure. But most of all, guys, again, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for watching this channel. I hope that you've had a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and I hope that you have a Happy New Year. And I'll see you in the new year. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Everyone. Oh, and I forgot to say, I've made a Twitter for the channel. You can find that in the description if you'd like to follow me. All right. Thanks, everyone.